Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. New World OR-GASM. Welcome to the third season of Orgasmic Enlightenment. I thought we would kick things off with a bit of New World OR-GASM inspiration. In the year of 2020, we have heard all kinds of talk about the new normal and what people are just going to have to get used to. And the term, the New World Order, has been in use for decades, if not longer, to describe a vision that certain people have of what they want the world to look like. Humanity is faced with some big decisions right now. You can listen to what you are spoon-fed as bought and paid for facts, or you can do your own independent research and figure things out for yourself. You can also tap into your own vision and create things for yourself. Something I have noticed over the past year now is that there is so much heavy, negative information out there. Whether you buy the current medical narrative or you are a truther and can read between the lines, there is a lot of stuff coming to the surface and a feeling of needing to wade through a lot of pessimism and views of our future that aren't so bright. So in this podcast, I want to share with you some seeds and mantras that I personally use to remind myself to keep a higher perspective on things, and also to reinforce that I, myself, am the creator of my world. So here are some of the fortifying spiritual beliefs and practices I live by. Anami credos. The first is the law of cause and effect. All right, so are you being cause or effect? Is your life truly a reflection of what you want to see and what you desire? If you are forever blaming other people and circumstances for where you are, then you are also at their mercy to change them, right? If you are forever looking for acknowledgement and validation from others or their apologies before you can change anything, you could be waiting an eternity. The empowering stance is to take responsibility for the state of your life, to realize that on some level you created this. And guess what? If you created it, that means you can change it. If someone else created it, that's a lot harder for you to change. So one viewpoint gives you power and the other gives the power to someone else. It might seem daunting when you look at where you are now compared to where you want to be, but the first step is to take stock and then to get in motion. Speaking of which, number 2 principle would be meditate, masturbate, create. So one of the main ways in which I tap into my creative power is through my orgasm. I speak all the time on how your sexuality and your orgasms are your creative energy sources if you consciously use and channel them. And I've also spoken on how this is the exact reason why sex has been so heavily censored over the millennia and the true creative power of it distorted, so that people are left confused and separated from their sexuality. It is by design. You can hear me speak more about this in my Why Is Sex Really Censored podcast episode. So as I always say, the power is at your fingertips and between your legs. If you want to tap into the true procreative power of the universe, look no further than your genitals. All of my work is about teaching people how to use this power to turbocharge their relationships, their health, their bodies, finances, their creativity, and their genius via your sexual practices, and especially in the gourmet sex way that I teach them. We also learn how to open, surrender, and then tune into the divine flow of the universe. So you can check out my sex and creativity episode for the meditate, masturbate, create protocol, which you can also find in my YouTube video, Self-Pleasuring 101. And so you can also do this as a couple. You just change it up slightly, but it applies to both. All right, so next up would be the mantra, there is always a solution. And this is one of my favorite life mantras, the idea that no matter what is happening or has happened to you, there is always a creative solution to your problem. Imagine that. Imagine that in the game of life, every single obstacle that comes your way has a solution, but that it is your job to find it. The onus is on you to employ your creative faculties, hint, your sexual energy and orgasms, to find the answers. So whenever I get stuck with something, I remind myself of this, and then I open myself to the wisdom and the insight of the universe to help me find the answers, knowing that they are out there. I just have to tune into them. Next up would be the idea that we are spiritual beings in a physical body, and we are here having a spiritual experience. So my view on all of this, the why are we here, is that I am an eternal spiritual being, a soul occupying a temporal physical body. I've had many already, and if I play this one right, I might not have to come back here again. So what this viewpoint gives me is a certain amount of courage, and 2, detachment. Courage because I know that this life isn't the be all and the end all. I, as a soul, I'm an eternal being and I can never actually die. I can transform, I can exist in other dimensions. And then there's the detachment that comes along with this too. And like I said, I often have said to myself as another mantra, life is just a game. I am here to play. We all are. We all have roles and karma to balance and things to learn, primarily to give and receive love. Next up is the idea of hunting your demons. So much of my personal and professional work is about facing and confronting your demons. Instead of waiting for them to ambush you in the night, you go hunting for them. You invite them to come out and tussle and play. So the Sonoy Dreamers, they are this tribe in Malaysia. And I read about this years ago because I was really interested in the concepts of conscious and lucid dreaming. And they're a dreaming culture. And so they get up in the morning and they have breakfast together and their families, and they talk about their different dreams and they try to look at the symbolism, what their higher consciousness is trying to communicate to them. And they are taught, even from a young age, that if they are ever being pursued or chased in a dream by some kind of demon or evil being or whatever, pursuer, that they stop and they turn around and they confront their pursuer. They might kill them. They might conquer them, or in some way, at least, the very least, they confront them. And then after they have been victorious, they ask them for a prize. And so I love this analogy of not only facing your fears, but then also knowing that there is some kind of prize and reward for stepping into that space. So in my view, what's more important than fearing confrontation or my shadow self or death is that I am true to myself and that I live according to as much integrity as I can muster, that I find and I speak my truth. And I would say that this truth finding and speaking is a biggie, especially these days, because I think that these are the spiritual tests that we all receive. Are we going to stand up and speak out? Are we going to back down and retreat into a corner and stay quiet? And our ultimate spiritual growth happens in any area of our lives when we choose courage. We confront the things that are in front of us. We stand in our truth. We speak up. We take a position. That's what really changes us. And I have noticed this in some of my colleagues over the past months, where they have taken an often unpopular stand and in planting themselves firm and being bombarded with whatever amount of hatred or obliteration or criticism that they then go through a metamorphosis into this unexpected new life and reality, one that was even greater than what they've had before. To access any new life, the price of admission is always courage. This is the magic ticket that propels us into new realities, but we have to earn it first by turning around and facing what is chasing us. Next up, something that's really crucial to my whole being is saturate your life with the positive. So meditation, being in nature, sex, intimacy, connection, physical exercise, all of the daily choices we make about what we put into our bodies and our minds and our genitals either fortify or weaken us. To me, these positive habits are insurance and nourishment. And remember the spiritual adage, energy flows where attention goes. And so if you fill yourself up with so much positive, there is little room for negativity to take root in you because you've beat it to the punch. And the seventh point is the idea of creating a new system from within. Ha ha ha. Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model, and that makes the existing model obsolete." So this is what I have focused on for most of my entire career, showing people what else is possible, inviting and enticing them into a new reality. Over the past few years, as I've learned more about the insidious corruption in the allopathic medical system and in OBGYN practices in particular, I have spent some time highlighting those, but mostly I focus on all the techniques and information and education that those arenas don't tell you, like all people are innately sexual and have voracious libidos. All people can heal from sexual trauma. All women can have vaginal orgasms, cervical orgasms, G-spot orgasms, and ejaculate that hits the roof. All men can have sex for 8 hours at a time. All men can separate orgasm from ejaculation. All women can have orgasmic births. All women can have easy and blissful periods and menopause. All men can occupy their powerful, sexy, masculine energy and in so doing, be a beacon in their lives and of service to those around them. Yes, all people can. This is the Anami guarantee. Once you learn how to consciously direct your sexual creative energy, which is at the core of all of my teachings, then you can make massive changes in every part of your life. And it just happens easily because you have the creative power of the universe at your fingertips. So there's a lot of talk these days in certain circles, I'd say my circles, about how we can create our lives outside of the current system. And when you look at things like your food supply, your energy supply, are you in any and every way self-sufficient? Or if the pipelines that brought these things to you were suddenly interrupted, how would you survive? My big project over the past months has been cultivating a permaculture garden and food forest so that we can be more and more self-sufficient. So this idea applies to everything from your power sources, not just your genitals, but if you are hooked up to the grid or if you have any kind of alternative energy supply. If you don't like the system you are in, make your own. And many of us already have. If you'd like to hear my views on the state of affairs over the past year, you can check out my podcast episodes that were released in season 2 last year, which are I've Gone Viral Again, The New Normal, and The Truth Virus. And if you'd like to keep up on my alternative news feed, you can join my private Telegram group called Anami Sacred Samurais. I'm warning you that this particular channel is a departure from my regular orgasmic content, and it instead focuses on an alternate view to the dominant narrative of today, especially in these very turbulent times. So to join, get the Telegram app on your device and look for Anami Sacred Samurais. If you can't find it, then come to my site, look at this post, which will be called New World Orgasm, and then you will find the direct link from there. My legendary vaginal kung fu salon begins in early February. We will have lots of vagina-centered content coming up over the next few weeks on the podcast and in video, touching on everything from lubrication to ejaculation and beyond. If you would like, in the meantime, to watch my free preview video series on vaginal kung fu, then go to kimonami.com and look under Sexual Savant Salons and then Vaginal Kung Fu. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe and also leave a review. And send someone else the gift of a healthy libido and an off-the-charts love life by sharing this episode with them. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, many happy orgasms.